Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church of the Hills. This is our congregation song, but since there's not a full choir, that means you get to participate on the parts you know. So everyone up, let's have some energy, and let's get this service started off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
My morning into dancing over and over and over again. Oh Lord, you have turned my sorrow into joy. Over and over and over again. Oh Lord, you have turned my morning into dancing over and over and over again. You have been my shield, the lifter of my head. You are my joy. You are my joy. And I will always love you. I will always love you just for you. You are my joy. You are my joy, and I will always love you. I will always love you just for you. You are my joy. You are my joy. So now you got the gist of it, so we'll start over. Oh my morning into dancing. Over and over and over again. Oh Lord, you have turned my sorrow into joy. Over and over and over again. You have been my shield, the lifter of my head. You are my joy. You are my joy. And I will always love you. I will always love you just for you. You are my joy. You are my joy. I will always love you. I will always love you just for you. You are my joy. You are my joy. So this morning as we come together to worship and enjoy the blessings that we have, I want you all to have the joy of the Lord in your heart because you are here, you are breathing, you are blessed, and you know He will continue to bless you over and over again. Right? So, oh, you turn my morning. Oh, yeah, you turn my morning into dancing. Over and over, over and over and over and over again. You turn my morning into dancing. Over and over, over and over and over and over again. You turn my morning into dancing. Over and over, over and over and over and over again. You turn my morning into dancing. Over and over, over and over and over and over again.
Emma, I heard a whisper. Emma, that's me. Good morning. We get the songs for the week, and I was listening to that song every morning while I was getting ready to go to work, and I'd step out of the elevator, you turn my morning. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to start your day. We're so glad you're here. For those of you who are watching at home online, thank you so much for being here with us. We hope that you feel the energy that is in this room, in this very room. What more do I have to say? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Join with me in our statement of mission. We are an open-minded and open-hearted spiritual community that welcomes and embraces each individual as an expression of the divine. Do we have any newcomers joining us today? Wonderful. Wonderful. Glad you are here with us. Oh, and we have our two visitors from, actually they're going to be here with us for the year at least. They're from the Philippines. They just got here a couple days ago. Welcome. And they're going to help Nina, at her school, teaching the children at the school. That's wonderful. Thank you for being here. Anyone else? Well, we welcome you and welcome everyone that came back. And let's say our blessing. We love you. We bless you. We won't, and we behold the Christ you are. Now take the time to greet everyone and bless them for the morning.
And now, as we move into a time of prayer, let's take a deep breath and move from the busyness of our minds into the sanctuary of our hearts. Let us feel the love of God coming through us as us. Let us feel the peace of God that is always there in the silence when we reflect on it. Let's remember our connection to sweet spirit, good friend God that surrounds us in all places and all times. And be grateful for the love of the Christ presence of others that comes to us as we connect in this community and beyond. We're grateful for the divine creativity with beginnings and endings and beginnings, knowing the growth that comes through change, the divine wisdom that helps us reflect on what is our next step, and this opportunity to learn and transform here together. We recognize that God is all, and God is one, and God is that love that is everywhere present, the peace beyond understanding that is there in the silence, and wisdom, and creativity, and we are in eachness, in the allness of that God. And we affirm that all is well. We open ourselves to be open-minded and open-hearted as we hear the words that are here for us today, and take that learning to continue our transformation, unfolding in divine timing, divine wisdom, and with divine presence. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Good morning. So good to see you all here. Did you know, if you haven't heard, the 8 a.m. contemplative service has a new time and a new location, and that is 8:30 a.m., and the new place is Legacy Suites. It's the large building in the Unity Oaks, or the large room in the Unity Oaks building. Today and every Sunday, you can join the UCOH Board of Trustees in room 131 after this service. Everyone is invited to come and ask any questions that you have, or even share your UCOH experience and your hopes and dreams for the spiritual community. Okay, let's see if I get this right. Saturday, September 2nd, UCOH is hosting a special Sri Kalki Soma Diksha event sponsored by Golden Age Movement in the sanctuary right here. The doors will open at 1 p.m. and tickets are available online, and you can see the poster in the foyer for more information. So mark your calendars for Unity's 30th annual World Day of Prayer, which is September 13th and 14th. The 2023 theme this year is Heart of Healing, with the powerful affirmation, I open my heart to healing in this moment. Sign-ups are online or out in the foyer. And now, please join me in affirming our mission statement. We put God first, celebrate life, serve truth, and empower people to transform their lives.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes would see when your face is before me. I can only imagine, yes. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with you, Spirit, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine, yes, I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine what all I will do is forever praise and worship with you. I can only imagine, yes. Oh, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with you, Spirit, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yes, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with your Spirit, or in all of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yes, I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Yes, I can only imagine. Oh, I can only imagine. Yes, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what all I will do is forever praise and worship with you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
in that. Bask in that beautiful, rich voice, allowing us to imagine what it is like. Thank you, Roderick. Okay. Let the good be said. And so I let it be. Amen. My name is Reverend Emma Jane Conley, and I am part of Unity Church, and so delighted and honored to be able to speak with you and be part of this worship today. We have been reading as a congregation the book Trusting Change by Karen Herron, and we're in a time of transition in the church to find a new senior pastor to lead us. And so we have been working with Reverend Cynthia Vermillion Foster, I got her name right, on this book. And she is helping us to let go of what we've always, way things have always been and what we've always thought they should be, and preparing ourselves to move into a new part of our journey. So even if you have not been reading Trusting Change, I want you to feel part of this. I don't want you to feel excluded in any way. The Trusting Change, Karen Herron talks about any change that you have in your life, could be major, could be just a minor change. She calls them thresholds. And just as a reminder, Reverend Cynthia talked about this in our very first talk on this. We've been doing a chapter a week. We've placed a threshold right as you come into the sanctuary. And a lot of people don't realize that it's there. And the threshold is wide enough that you can't step over it to come in. How we usually do with any threshold, we step over it and go into the next room. And the reason why it's wider is that the threshold is meant to be in that space of not yet, that space of not knowing what the next thing is, and learning to just be in that space. Let it be. So think about that when the next time you come into the sanctuary, step onto it and just allow yourself to be buoyant in that space about what you will receive when you come into the sanctuary. And so that's the visualization that she gives. She also gives the example of the butterfly, that the whole process, the metamorphosis from the caterpillar to the butterfly, and all of the changes that it goes through. I won't go into all of that right now, but as another visual, I'm really beginning to like that visual of a threshold. First, I was having trouble kind of putting it into my space, but I like the visual of a doorway or an entrance way and that threshold. My mother was an artist, and I never liked going, I'm not a museum person, and I never liked going to art museums. I just kind of thought, it was like, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's pretty, oh, you know. But going with her, she made everything come alive because she knew the history of the painter, and she'd say, well, now they were going through this in their life when they painted this, and it just brought it all to life. But she always said that a painter, in some place in the painting, there's an open way, there's an open doorway. You never want a closed gate of a fence or a closed door, because that opening is your invitation into the painting. And that's another visual that I can really get into. That visual of just even walking into something that isn't real clear. But you're there, kind of looking through the fog or the clouds to see what is coming. So I wondered, as I was thinking about this this week, if any of you all have had that kind of visual as you're reading, either with the butterfly and the metamorphosis or the threshold. It's always good to let our imaginations, like I didn't plan that one, like the song, imagine what it might be like. And we lose that as we grow. We lose that art of play, that imagining what something could be like. And often we think of change as dread. And even as we're going through this as a congregation, allowing ourselves to just sit and imagine what our next life is going to be like as a congregation. Play with it. Don't think of it so much as, that's the way I know I think of it. What's the next step? What's the next step? Allow ourselves to play. Before I go on to this chapter, which is moving on, I wanted to bring everybody, do a brief summary of the book so you can have an idea of what we're talking about. What Karen Herron does is she says we've got our threshold, and there are skills that will help you with that letting go and being open to what's next. So the first skill is letting go. Letting go of what was, letting go of resentments or anger around anything. And with gratitude, let go. Let go of things that no longer feed us, that are no longer serving us. They don't have to be bad, just no longer, just say thank you very much, and I'm going to put you back here. The next skill is grieving. And nobody likes that word. Nobody wants to grieve, but it's part of our human nature. It's part of who we are. And when we push back on that grief or we stuff it down, that's when we get into trouble. So allowing ourselves to grieve, allowing to feel the loss and work through it, and then again, let it go. So we kind of stack these skills as we're going, we use them. The next skill is practicing equanimity. It's a big word. I had to look it up, like what really does that mean? It's not equal. What is that? And it tells a great story about a farmer, and the neighbor keeps saying, oh, this is going to happen, or I'll bet this is going to happen, and the farmer just says, we'll see. And then the next thing comes up, and the neighbor says, oh, I bet this is going to happen, and the farmer just says, we'll see. So it's taking a stance of neutrality. Just, we'll see. We're open. And then we have taking part in stillness, giving ourselves that space to collect what we're going through, what we have done, and allow any direction to come in, having a sense of, are we finding freedom with what we've let go and what we've grieved and let go with that. Always giving ourselves that space, and it might even be just a few breaths to just listen. The next skill is navigating the unknown. How many do that well? To be in relationship with the unknown, and you're thinking, what in the world are you talking about, Emma Jane? We all want to control what's going to happen next. It seems to feel better if we know we can take control. But sometimes that's not the right thing to do, or we just don't have the control. And so we have to befriend the unknown. Preparing for the journey. And I loved this skill because it talks about having a sense of home from within, finding our true north. And for many of us, Unity Church of the Hills is home. I know it's my spiritual home. I hadn't been here in a little while. I moved up to Conley, so I kind of was griping about the drive down on Sunday morning. I want to sleep in. And I came January 1st, which was a Sunday. And when I first walked in the doors, it wasn't even the doors to the sanctuary. I went, oh, I'm home. I'm home. This is the space where I know I can grow in my spirituality, grow in my knowledge, grow in relationship to other people. And in knowing that my true home, my true north is within, is my spirit within that guides me. And the last one last week was claiming companions. And Reverend Cindy did a wonderful job with her talk of how do we claim our companions? We choose people to join us on our journey. Choosing community. Jesus chose the 12 fishermen, and he gathered women along the way, and he gathered others along the way, but he chose them to be with him on his journey of ministry. So be intentional in the thought, in the way of having purpose on who you are bringing into your community for your journey. And that brings us to skill number 8, moving on. As you noticed, or maybe you didn't, but all of the skills are verbs: letting go, grieving, practicing equanimity, taking part in stillness, navigating, preparing, claiming. And this one is moving. So even though we're doing this inner work individually and as a group, we're not passive. We're being very active, but we're taking the time to do it so that we come out of this with clarity, so that we really are able to envision what we want for our future. So I'm going to ask you in the meditation, so just think about these questions. Will you allow yourself to be a channel for positive power? Will you let something good be said? And where do you see God's presence in the spaces in your life? And seeing yourself as spirit within you. I'm going to share something personal, but it really is so much a part of really this whole book of Trusting Change has been, it speaks to me. And this is an example. My yellow dress. My sister was 4 years older than I am, and she was an epidemiologist, a scientist. My mother used to say, she got the beauty, my sister got the brains, and I got the talent. And I always kind of thought, wait a minute, I have brains too. But I was not like my sister. A dynamo. Took on life with every gusto that there is. And in very active, very healthy woman. My idea of taking a vacation is going to the beach and just watching the waves go in and out for like a week. That's what I need. And I need that perspective. My sister's idea of a vacation is going mountain biking in Baja California. She doesn't bike at all, but there they went. Or another one was kayaking off the coast of North Canada. She said her daughter that went along was really mad at her because it was a gruesome trip. But that was her idea of vacation. So she played hard, she worked hard. In September of 2019, she was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, 4th stage. And they gave her 6 months with treatment. And she died 6 months later, even going through all the treatment. I was very fortunate that my boss said, she was up in Chicago, family is the most important, go do what you need to do. So I went every month for about 5 days and I was with her. And I prayed, I pleaded with God, give it to me. Her life, she needs to go on. Give it to me. Give me the pain. Don't make her go through this. Pleaded. And so then after she died, I had a real hard time with God. God didn't answer my prayer, I thought. And we had a beautiful celebration of life the next month, and I bought this dress to wear for her celebration of life. And she was a bright, beautiful blonde with blue eyes. And so yellow just presented her, just light. And I sang, I did a Nora Jones piece that she loved. For the next year, I had lost my north. I really had lost the person that guided me through life. She was always there. And I lost God. I really, was like, you failed me. And, fortunately, I had a friend of mine who was a priest in the Episcopal Church, and I said, Pam, can you ever, kind of just, is it okay to just say goodbye to God for a while? Excuse me. And she said, oh, yes, but just know when you're ready, God is right there waiting. And God was right there waiting when I said, okay, God, I'm beginning to see how you answered my prayer. I was allowed to go through that with her and companion her in her pain and take some of that pain. And she gave me the blessing of asking me to sing for her the last 3 days of her life. Would you just come sing for me? And I found that when I sang for her was the only time that she had peace. And for a couple of years, I couldn't wear this yellow dress. And just this year, I put it on and I feel her presence. Not just when I wear the yellow dress, but all the time now, I feel her presence supporting me. And I hear that, Emma Jane, would you just sing? And she always knew that's what gave me life. And it was actually singing that brought me back. Just every day, I'd sing a song. And it just kind of brought me back to living again. And that's really kind of, as I have seen, as I've gone through this book, that's an example of every chapter in this book for me. And now being here at this place of moving on, we still don't know what the future holds, but we're ready to move on. And I think some of you can recognize my story and things that you have gone through. And that's why I shared it. In the gospel readings, the disciples have to go through this. The very beginning of Matthew, when Jesus heard that John had been arrested, he withdrew and he went to Galilee. So he begins his ministry in Galilee. This is the land of the Gentiles, where those who sat in darkness, that's what the Gentiles were thought, they were thought of as no good people. But they had seen a great light. They were shown that light that John was presenting and saying, this is coming. And Jesus found that this was the open door to his ministry. And so he began there. And then at the end of Matthew, after Jesus has died and he is no longer in the tomb, verses 28 says, after Jesus' death and resurrection, the messenger tells the women at the open tomb, go quickly and tell the disciples he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. Go. There you will see him. And Jesus came and said to the disciples, when they met in Galilee, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them and teaching them to obey everything that I have commanded you." And what did Jesus command? Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. That was the gem of his ministry, the gift. So Jesus also adds at the very end, "And remember that I am always with you." And we know in unity teaching that God is within us. We are born of God and we are God's. And our being is God. Just as Jesus showed us, perfect example. He said, "I am of my Father, and you are of my Father." So Jesus said, "Meet me in Galilee, the beginning of the ministry, and I will be there. You don't have to do this alone." What I think is really interesting when I was looking at this scripture is that the disciples go. And then they go off and they do this incredible touring all around the country, spreading what Jesus taught them. And they're creating community. And they're, if this hadn't happened, it would have just stayed in that little space of Galilee and Jerusalem. But they took it out. And these are the same, kind of bumbling idiots that never got what he was trying to tell them. They were always saying, "Oh, could you just explain that in a little bit different way? Tell us again. Show us." And even when he showed them, they were scratching their heads. And now they are empowered, just as we are empowered always with that spirit within us. And when we can let go of our inhibitions, let go of our limitations and the things that drag us down in the world, we have that power to go and be so much more than we could imagine we could be. So they have their own threshold that they had to walk through. And they let something good be said. That is a quote from Eric Butterworth, and I just found all week I was kind of taking it on in my ministry at the hospital. Let something good be said. And when you think about that in a larger picture, when people come and visit Unity Church of the Hills and they leave, we want everyone to leave being ready to let something good be said. Share it. I'm going to read the poem that begins, kind of close with that begins this section of the book. And it's a little long, but bear with me. Here, where already you have left behind by choice or by force what you knew, what you cherished, and maybe took for granted. Here, where not yet do you know where you're headed, what it will take, what it will give, how it will change you. Here, on the threshold, you balance on a comma between the no longer and the not yet. Now, where we are here, now may you pause, breathing in, breathing out, on the cusp in between. Notice where your fullness gives way to emptying as the full moon each month sloths in its waning and makes way for new waxing. Now, letting go of attachments and assumptions, may you realize what you've clutched in your fear, making room for the stranger knocking, who is always you. Now, may you discover what you've carried within all along, but not known, named, or needed. Ancestors' whisperings, newborn powers, the hope of the young, the resilience of earth and her beings. Now they are crucial. Clear a path to their wellspring. Walk it often. Keep it open. Now, may you listen, one ear turned inward to your heart and the body's knowing, and one ear turned outward to the suffering and joy that will teach us. Now look around you at the others, waiting with you on the curl of this comma. You will need them. They will need you. Together, we will round this bend, cross over into the not yet, where having let go, we might finally learn a new possible way. Now, here. That so beautifully describes what we are going through right now. And it reminds us, in the very end, together, we will make this happen. We will see the promise. We will see the direction that we are to go. Maybe not the whole vision, but we'll see it, and we are seeing it together. So I thought of what I'm going to ask you in the meditation. I said the questions. Allow yourselves to maybe do something you wouldn't regularly do. And when you join everyone in the coffee hour afterward, instead of sitting at the table and talking about the weather, share with one another some of the things that came to you. Some of what your vision might be, that playful creativity of where the possibilities of where Unity Church of the Hills will be. And during the week, let something good be said. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there is doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. And where there's sadness, ever joy.
This space. Close your outer eyes. And as you breathe in, feel the presence of those around you. Feel the energy of the love, of the promise, of your companions. And allow yourself to settle in to the pew and let it support you, so that your body feels light. Your mind is as open as a child's who is laying in the grass, free and easy, watching the clouds and imagining what they are. Allow yourself to be that sweet, precious child of God that you are born to be. And as you relax into that idea, allow yourself to be a channel of the divine positive power that flows from the Spirit through you. And you will allow it to be present to the world when you're ready. Allow yourself to ask and to dream, imagine the kind of world you desire. There are no limitations. This is your imagination. It's just you and God. And I believe the collective connection in this room. Think of the community you desire. What are your greatest desires for Unity Church of the Hills, your community? Allow that playful, beautiful spirit within you to imagine. And the third prayer is, what do you hope for yourself? What is your greatest desire? Take in another good, cleansing breath. When you're ready, open your eyes and look around you at the others waiting with you on the curl of this comma. You will need them. They will need you. And so it is. Amen.
Now it's the opportunity to open our hearts and hopefully our wallets to support our spiritual community and experience the power of giving and receiving with our offering. So if the ushers would like to come forward. There are a number of ways which you can see to give, and they're showing right up here on the screen. And whether you're giving through our app, text to give, in person or online, we are grateful for your generosity and know that it will return to you tenfold. If you give electronically or through recurring giving, we have cards in the pew that you can use to activate the power of your generosity. Pick one up while we speak our offering and affirmation together, and let me just say that it really is so easy and takes away the worry of, did I bring my wallet or my credit card? And the church, if you are not here, will still get your support. So think about doing it. It's easy. And let's say our affirmation: divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I circulate, and I am grateful.
1, 2, 3. No, sorry. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. As around the sun and earth there's no revolving, and the rosebuds know it, bloom in early May. Just as hate knows love the cure, you can rest your mind as sure that God is loving you always. Now I can't reveal the mystery of tomorrow, but in passing we'll grow older every day. Just as all that's born is new, you know what I say is true, that God eternity to last forever and another day. Just as time to move on from the beginning, and the seasons know exactly when to change. Just as kindness knows no shame, know through all your joy and pain that God is loving you always. As today I know I'm living, but tomorrow could make me the past I mustn't fear. For all I know, deep in my mind, love is left behind, 'cause God is loving you always.
Until the day is night and night becomes the day.
Always,
Until the trees and seas just up and fly away.
always,
Until the day that 8 times 8 times 8 is 4.
always.
Until the day that is the day that I'm no more. Until the day the earth starts turning right to left. Until the earth just for the sun denies itself. Until the mother nature says her work is through. Until the day that you are me and I am you. Until the rainbow burns the stars out in the sky. Until the ocean covers every mountain high.
We all know sometimes life hates and troubles can make you wish you were born in another time or place. But you can bet your life and time set twice as double. That God knows exactly where He wants you to be placed. So make sure when you say you're in it and not of it, you're not helping to make this earth place sometimes called hell. Change your word into truth, then change that truth into love, and maybe your children, grandchildren, and their grandchildren will tell. Ain't that loving you?
Until the rainbow burns the stars out in the
Say God is
sky.
loving you.
Until the ocean covers every mountain high.
He's loving you now.
Until the dolphin flies and parrots live at
Ain't that
sea.
loving you?
Until we dream of a life and life becomes a dream.
Oh, wait.
Until the day is night and night becomes a day.
Oh, wait.
Until the trees and seas just up and fly away.
Oh, wait.
Until the mother nature says her work is through.
Oh, wait.
Until the day that you are me and I am you.
God is loving you.
My goodness, how many places can you come to church and get your workout? And it's so fun. Thank you so much, Matt. Woo! Our very own Stevie Wonder. And with all that joy and energy, let's bless our offerings. Great and beautiful Spirit, we give of ourselves for the church, for the good deeds that we can do through the church. And we think of all those in need. And we work in our own way to do what we can to bring healing and goodness to this world that suffers. Bless these gifts. We are so grateful for the generosity. Bless those who give, that they feel empowered to do all that they can. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Thank you. Closing, one more time?
I'm up here again. Okay. Join Reverend Cynthia and integrative healing artist Anaya for Heritage and Healing the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of September. Visit the UCOH website for more information about this important transitional event. Longtime A Course in Miracles teacher Jennifer Feiereisel will be offering her 10-week The Way of ACIM Happy Learner Workshop on Zoom beginning September 14th and in room 203, September 15th, and you can register online. Nominations for the UCOH board are being accepted through Sunday, September 10th. You may nominate someone or yourself either by paper ballot or online. Check the website for more information. And lastly, next Sunday in our 8:30 a.m. service in Legacy Suite or on Facebook, Jean Lean will continue her series on intention with her talk, Living Intention, Attracting Abundance. At 11:30, Reverend Emma Jane Conley brings us some imaginative suggestions for our next transformational threshold in her talk, Imagining the Way. So join us in the sanctuary or online. Have a good day.
Available to any of you who who need prayer. I guess that's instead of standing up. We thank you, Tim. And there we go over here. There's usually one over here too. No? Okay. So if you would like prayer at the end of the service, will you be in the chapel? They'll be in the chapel. For those of you who may not know where the chapel is, just go through the door on the left, the threshold on the left, and then go to the right, and the chapel's in the back there. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. For those of you online and at home, if you would like prayer, Unity, Silent Unity is available anytime, 24/7. The number's 800-669-7729. And now we're bringing the children in. Oh, we say goodbye to our online congregants. Have a blessed week, and thank you for joining us.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.